so we're done with our ironing now. So I'm just going to show you what I did. I'm just going to show you one by one here. So this is our neckline here. All right, remember we iron it down. So remember that, right? So we nip it, we iron it down. Now we're going to be doing understitching a bit. So what I would suggest, again, this is just for camera to make sure that you could see well. What I would suggest for you now, you don't want to use something black, of course. You want to use maybe a white, sorry, it could be a white lining. Actually, white would even work good with this, or a yellow, or sorry, so don't say yellow, because you may not make a yellow dress, but a color that actually match your dress, okay? So that's what you want to do. So this is my lining now. I'm going to be doing understitching. So that's how it is here. So here I managed to kind of get it in. So I'm going to try to do the understitch to make everything tuck in, so we're not supposed to see this. All right, so that's for the neckline here for the front, and the back is pretty much the same way. So we're going to do understitching as well. So this is it here for the back. Right, so for the back, this one, and then this one. Right, so we're going to do understitching here. So you could do 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to show you how I'm going to do it. I may not do 1/8 of an inch, but 1/8 of an inch would actually be usually just be the amount for the understitching. All right, and I'll show you exactly what we're going to be doing. Okay, I'm just going to follow this foot here, so I may get a little bit bigger understitching. So that's it for this. Now the sleeve now, so this is how the sleeve is now. Right, so the sleeve is like this, so we see it all here, right? So that's how it is. So what we're gonna do with the sleeve too, I would go and I would make a 1/2 inch stitch all around here as well, because it's a gathered sleeve. If it's a flare sleeve, we could leave it like this, but we're not making a flare sleeve, we're making a gathered sleeve, right? So okay, so we're gonna do it on the both of them. Let's do the gather on the both of them. All right, we're gonna be doing the elastic on the both of them. It says a gathered sleeve, that's why. So anyway, let's get started with 1 by 1 first. So we're gonna work with this neckline. So let's get started, and I'll show you what we'll be doing to get the understitching. Okay, so this is how it is now. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna take the understitching here, and we're gonna open it up like this. See? So we're gonna open it up like this, right? And we're gonna make sure that this piece that we trim here is towards the lining side. We're gonna take the lining and open it up like this, sorry, and then this here gonna go towards the lining side. So we make sure everything is towards the lining side. Okay. So I was wondering if I was going to change the neckline. I'm just going to leave it anyway. It's going to be a really high neckline. You could always drop it if you want, but I'll leave mine like that. So this is like that. So once this is like that, so I hope you're seeing this, then you're going to bring this over. Okay, so this is how I'm going to be pulling it down. So I'm going to be pulling this way and this that way. So let's put it on the sewing machine now. So just make sure that the seam allowance here is facing this way, and I'm going to put it down right at the end here. Okay, so see, the foot is right next to the end here, and I'm trying to sew this down to the seam allowance here. Okay, that's exactly what I'm doing here. So just have to take your time. So let me just fix it here as I go along. Okay, so I'm gonna take my time. With my back stitch. All right. So I'm gonna make sure I pull it taut. See that? So I'm just fixing to make sure I get the bottom. Because if you don't get that seam allowance in the bottom to touch the lining, they're not, it's like you didn't really do anything. So you gotta make sure. See, I'm not rushing, I'm just taking my time. And I'm making sure my seam allowance is on that side. Okay. Okay, put it back on this side. Especially around this, the deeper part of the neck, the front, the middle part of the neck. I want to make sure I get it there. Yeah. Okay, see how I'm turning it around? You have to just take your time. Beautiful. So I'm done. The first one. I'm gonna do the back neckline now. Okay. So get the back neckline. So same exact thing. Open up this here. And I'm gonna make sure that this is on this side, right? So there's top stitch and there is understitch. This is understitch. I'm pretty sure there would be another garment we will make with the top stitch, but this one is called understitching. All right, so the goal is just to make sure that it's taut. It's really, really taut. I'm not pulling it to yank it off the machine. I'm just pulling it to keep it steady. All right. So as I finish, I'm just gonna put the other one. Again, I wanna make sure the lining is on this side. All right. Okay. Okay, so now we're gonna do the sleeve. So the sleeve now, we'll do a bit different, of course. Okay, so the sleeve now, I'm gonna do, see I have my gauge here. So I'm gonna do, because I want another stitch to come through here all the way to the end. So I would do 3/4. I could do 3/4 first. 3/4 of an inch here. You could also do 1/2 inch. All depends on your elastic. And my elastic, it's like a 1/4 inch elastic. So I'll be put, it's a gathered sleeve, right? So I'm putting elastic. So my elastic is like this. So it's still a lot, but I want a lot of space anyway. So just because maybe I might have a safety pin to push it in, or we'll see. So I want enough space. So just go 3/4 of an inch. And I'm gonna sew it down. So just make sure that everything is tailored as you sew down. So just take your time. Okay, same thing for the other one. Okay. All right, so let's go and assess what we just did. Okay, so now we have to go back and iron this down again. So what we did here. So we're just gonna iron this down here now, making sure that it's fully down. So the neckline here. Oh, we just want to make sure that this part is down. Okay, just want to make sure it's laid down really nice and flat. That's it. So now just make sure it's down. That's the thing, just to make sure it's down. Like I said, if you have another fabric, a fabric to match the dress is even better. But the goal is that everything, so the goal for the understitching is to make sure that that stay down, right? Yeah. That's it for the ironing for the front neckline, the back neckline now. Okay, that's good. All right, so the sleeve now, what you could do again, you could just iron it down here, all right? That's it. Just keep it down, that's pretty much it. And then, okay, my thread fall. And do the same thing for the other one. All right, so let's get back to the machine for the next step now. All right, so now we're gonna be pinning everything down now. So the goal is just make sure you have everything straight, nice and tailored, right? We cut everything out same size, so just want to make sure that everything is nice and tailored here. That's it, nice and tailored. Because making sure your garment, especially when you have different layers, In this case, I have my lining, my fabric, and lace over the fabric. So I want to make sure it's tailored, nice and tailored, that I don't have any bulk in any way when I finish, right? Yeah. Because those things easily happen. So this thing, as I go along, it's, you see how it, so I said, if you have another, I would fix it, of course, nicely, but if you have another, if you have a thread matching, I mean a fabric matching your garment, is the best, right? Yeah, so, but eventually it will go down anyway. I will definitely work on it for it to go down. Pull it down a bit here. There you go. All right, so I'll just put a pin here to kind of stabilize it. Of course, you don't have to do that. I'm just doing that because I want to make sure that everything is nice and straight here. Good. So now I'll just take a pin, put it here. All right, beautiful. So I will take my back piece now. And I would also make sure it falls nicely. So let me just make sure it falls nicely first. The lining match up and everything, yeah. All right. Okay. I'm just making sure that it's nicely lined up. All right, so this here now, so observe what I'm doing. You would put this like that. This is the shoulder, would match with this shoulder here. All right, so this part would be down in the middle like this. Okay, so right now we're just concerned about the shoulder. The shoulder we want to match up first. Don't worry about if it's not matching up equally here. I don't want you to worry about that part here, about the armhole. Just worry about the shoulder. That's it. So I'm doing one at a time so you would understand. So take it out and pin it here. There's other way I could do it, but I want to do it this way so you could understand. And then as you understand, as we go along, we'll be doing it other different ways. There's other way you could line up the shoulders. There's so many different ways actually. So I'll put the pin this way and I'll line up this one as well. Okay, so what I want you to do actually, just put a pin to kind of level it up first. So that's the back here, and I just actually put more pins here, okay, to level it up. So that's the first thing you want to do, level it up. And remember, this is the shoulder, right? So now I'll just put it aside. I want to make sure that this is level to level. All right, I'll take my pin and I pin it down. Okay. I want to make sure that this is level to level, nice and level. So you may have to just see what I do. I just slant it on the side to make sure it's level here. And then I'm just gonna pull out one of the pin I have here and pin it down. So if in any case at all, you find anything extra here, you could try to stretch it to see if it could work. If not, you could always trim it out after you sew it down, okay? So if you find just a little extra here, don't worry about it. You could always trim it down to the level. That's not a big deal. Okay, so this one is done. Now we'll work with this side now. So again, before we work with it, gonna make sure everything is level. So level to level. So this would go on this side. It would go on this side, right? But first I want to make sure it's level. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna make sure it's nice and settled, right? See, so it's nice and settled, and now you're gonna fit it here. So remember, when you're fitting it, make sure these two edges is kind of overlapping each other, right? Make sure. I don't want you to be pinning it somewhere here or somewhere by the armhole here. Make sure you settle it down like this, and then you touch neckline to neckline. And then when you do the neckline again, you're gonna come on the side. Make sure it's even on the side here. Okay, I'll take out a pin, come down with it here. So just make sure it's even here, just slightly on the side. And the goal is to make sure that it's even on the side. Okay, so once you hold it like this, make sure you keep your hands steady, like tight, hold it tight there, and then there you go. All right, good stuff. Then you hold it up tightly. Let's see here if there's any. Okay. Okay. So you see, I'm making it pretty much level to level, right? It's a little extra of the lace showing, no big deal, but I'm trying my best to make it level to level. So I'm gonna come to the end here. I'll go underneath and take out one of the pins here. All right, then come in here. Taking out my pins, any extra pin I have it. All right, so I think I'm good here. I have it level to level, see that? Okay, so now what I will do now, before I do anything, I will go on the machine and I will sew 1/2 inch stitch here and 1/2 inch stitch here. Okay, so let's go on the machine and do that right now. Okay, so this is what I decided to do. I decided instead of just doing the sleeve and then coming back onto the sides, I go ahead and I level the sides here. So I have leveled the sides with pin, make sure they level with the lining and everything. I level the both sides here, right? So this is the shoulder here, all right? And this is the arm here. We're not gonna touch the arm. I'm gonna stay as is. And then we're just gonna put some pin on the side and we're gonna pin it down like this, okay? All right? So when we go on the machine, we'll sew it down. So let me pin this side, then I'll pin the other side. So I'm just removing the pins here, right? And again, if you make yours and for some reason the one fabric is longer than the other, don't make it stress you out too much. I'm pretty sure we'll be able to trim it and it should be just fine. So mine is pretty much level. The lace is a little bit longer, but the lace I could always trim out. I'm not worried about the lace. So here, right? Okay. So I'm okay with the pin in here. All right. So again, we did the shoulder, we leave the arm right? Because we're gonna put our hands, our arms in the armhole area, right? And then we did the sides, right? And that's right sides touching right sides, okay? So right sides touching right sides. So we'll be going on and sew it in a bit. So let's do the other arms first before we sew it down. So I'm just gonna come on this side here now. So this is the shoulder. This is what we did a while ago. And then this is the armhole, and we're just gonna line up the sides. And again, I did go ahead and pin the sides down to make sure it's level a bit. All right. So it's like this. I'm gonna take this to here now. I will level it down, paw to paw. So I'm gonna just take out this here because I have it there already. And I'll line it up here. So let me see here. I'm just gonna take it out. So make sure when you're lining it up, you get all the lace, everything together. That's why it's always good to just pre-pin it first. Actually, let's keep the lace there. So things happen, right? Okay, so I'm just gonna bring it down here first and stretch it out. And I'll repeat again. If you have ones that are a little bit longer, it's not really a big deal. Sometimes it doesn't matter how straight you cut the fabric, you still find a little here, a little there. So there you go. All right. Okay, so you could also go ahead and put more pins if you wish, but this is fine for me. So, all right, so let me show you what we'll be doing again. So of course we'll be doing 1/2 inch here and 1/2 inch by the shoulder, right? Now we make a 1 inch seam allowance. Remember we did 1 inch for the sides. So we're gonna put a full 1 inch seam allowance here on this side and a full 1 inch seam allowance on that side.